Here we go. Back on the stream. We are going to be working on our layout of our paths, possibly buildings. So, I want to show you a little bit I've been working on. We started working on the mountain layout last time, just building some of these little mountains here. So we got this one nice slope going up here, and then I dug into the wall on this side and got this mountain slope all the way up. So you can see when we're down low, oh, it kind of fades up into the ceiling there. Honestly, when you're on the ground, if you're not flying around, like you can, you don't even get to see the top of it. It just goes up there like that. So I think that'll be a good one for there. These are going to take a while, unfortunately. So I carved it all the way down through here because, again, we had just this rough edge down at deep slate level, and that same ridge came across here. So I've dug this out here, same over behind that. I sculpted that around, and then we just dug into the wall here. You can see from our outlines from, oh, I'm gonna need that. This was our chunk line here. So this is where the wall was at, the edge of this chunk. So everything back here I've dug by hand. And I need to start doing it over here as well. So this is your chunk line there. We're going to dig back into this wall. I've got to build the slope up to there. You can see this one's a little close to the wall. That means there's going to be a lot more digging in this area, or a really steep wall there. Same thing over here. We got to dig into it. Let me get rid of the grid. Dig into this to make our slope from there. And I went ahead and I think last time we laid out our bases for all the mountains around here. Maybe I did that off stream. So these farms are going to get moved, which is a pain in the tail, but it'll get done. And I just have the slope coming into right here, the edge of this little monstrosity that shall be something. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Tear it down and rebuild it somewhere else. I don't know. There's nothing behind it. When it comes to this side, I've started to slope at the bottom. Our issue with this side is if we come back here, the edge of our plot is this line. So if I go back further than that, I technically can, but I'm trying to keep it within just the property that I own. One of the rules on the server is we can't go, let's see, let me go up front. I cannot type. We can't build within 50 blocks of somebody else's build. And this is the side we're on over here, so snow, yay. So somewhere over in here, somebody built a house. It's not a claim or anything. I can't figure out whose it is, and there's not much to it. But it's there, so just to respect the rules, we are not encroaching on that. I mean, sure, I could probably talk to somebody and see, but there's also some other builds back down this way that I don't want to get close to, back over through here. This guy's not too far away right here, so it's a pretty nice stuff they've got built there. So anyway, that's kind of my limit on this side. So I might bring that slope in a little more, just to gotta figure out where I'm at. Okay, that's that. Yeah, so just to make it where I don't have to have quite as steep a slope, this might come in some more because of that, because we don't have as far back there to go. As you can see here, this right inside the cave, I do not have it marked. Okay, never mind. Either way, we want to try to work within the limits that we have there. And yeah, I've got to figure out what I'm doing with the QR code. If I'm going to try to work it in the terrain, which would be pretty cool if we could do that. I'm not 100% sure on this slope that I marked. Some of this, you mark stuff, you adjust as needed. because that's still a lot of digging into the wall here in order to bring it in. And now, granted, on this side, I do have a lot more land on my plot that I can go back further. I'm just trying not to do all the extra work that's not necessary. When we can build buildings a lot easier, because even within this, like if we were just kind of get back here, do I have? Yeah, I have enough. You can see this is all open, so I haven't filled that in. Probably won't, unless I get super bored and just have a ton of stone sitting around. Those are the things that I mindlessly like doing sometimes. Okay, so anyway, we're going to figure out our paths and everything. I tried to a bit ago just work on some simple paths here, where I'd want like roads to come through here. So I want something connecting up to this, obviously, to get up in here to these buildings that may or may not have anything in them. This is empty. Who knows? I might do an interior. But we want kind of a functional feel to it to kind of make it connect through there and give it a good feel. Okay, along here again, I might bring the base of the mountains out a little further as we figure out what we're doing with that, and do that. So let's just kind of take a look at the path, and then we'll figure out where we want to put buildings in here and such. I haven't really thought this through too much, so we do want to have part of the path come over to this. So why don't we kind of snake this in? I'm just laying a little moss down like this to kind of guide us along. And that can join through here. Unless you're, well, even if you're doing a city layout, try not to do too many straight lines. It makes sense in some cities that are laid out in a grid, but if your city kind of developed over time, one thing, so I've got a master plan for where I'm going to be putting villager pods on this server, just to kind of control lag, control performance. They have it where you can have 10 villagers in a chunk. So if I was to move another village in here, somebody would despawn. So you can have 10 villagers in a chunk, and then you need a 2-chunk buffer before you can have more. So if any of these villagers wandered into this chunk here, and I'll get the lines up again. If they wandered into this chunk right here, then somebody would despawn, either one of these or that guy. So we want to try to do that. So we kind of create a grid where you got your chunks all around. So we don't want, yeah, we just have like a red line. Let me see if I can figure out how to get that over here. So if I pull up simple survival, let's pull that there. And then I'm going to throw this in stream, hopefully real quick. Let me see here. So add another source. You can see it. Window capture, specific window, add source, and that's going to be Chrome, Twitch, Google Chrome, Google Sheets right there. Okay, let's throw that in here. That's on the screen. Lovely. All right, hold up. Too late. But anyway, if we throw this in here like this, it's a private document. It's okay. So you can see on here we've got the green ones would be where we can do that. Okay, so we can have a green one here. So these are my village. I think down on the bottom end of this. Let me see if I can go over there. Pull that up here. Okay, yeah. Bottom end of this, we've got. I've got some markings over here. So this is librarians. We have Fletchers over here. And then we have the cleric masons, librarians. We've still got a lot of space behind that to put more villager pods. Now, the other thing is, our spawners are limited to 4 spawners per chunk. So, although we can do every one of these chunks, just have 4 different spawners. The layout we have. Hold on a second. Let me mute that. That goes away. The layout we have for the so the maximum efficiency way to lay these spawners is going to be, I think I showed you this last time. You have your central spot. You can have 4 spawners, so we have 1 in each corner. And then the surrounding chunks, you have 4 here, 4 here, which I'm still missing 1 there, 4 here, and so on. So it still ends up being the same type of layout as the villagers as far as having the buffer, because like if this is the center of those, we already have 4 in here, 4 in here that all feed the center of these. So every surrounding chunk feeds the center chunk with the spawners. So if we go with that same layout, and let me pull that back up. It is minimized. 1 second. Gotta pull it up here too. Okay, we'll go with the same layout. Then we're going to have our spawners either offset by 1 block, like we actually have our, I think right here is where the middle of that spawner is, but we're going to tear it down and rebuild it. So if we go with the same ones where the librarians are, we can do that, or we can kind of offset it, but it's going to have to follow the same grid of the green and red as far as having 2 chunks in between where our centers are. If we want to do a full one like that, we can also just have a chunk, or like we could have it centered on here, like our center tower is going to have just 4 chunks and have up to 4 spawners in each one that then you work off of the very center of it. So we got to figure a layout, how to maximize the space that we have with the spawners we want to have in there. And we don't necessarily need to have spawners everywhere, but I think the back half of this, if we go to the above ground, I'm probably going to put my animals, my passive mobs that are good for food and such in there. So that's kind of a layout for what's going on with the grid and where we're going to line stuff up at. So let's go ahead and get that off the screen and take a look here. So that's that. We're going to just keep working on laying out roads, and we want to figure out where we want buildings. Obviously, along here, since we already have villager cells, we're gonna build buildings for them that look similar to this. Now they can tie into other buildings next to it that all connect together, but we've got to make sure that the villagers just stay in this one little area. We don't want them to go out of there because of the villager spawn rules. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to keep these here, and honestly, this could probably stay here once I build my mountain up. As long as I don't have a place that these can spawn on near that, this could connect all the way up there. Do I have a top? I don't have a top for that yet. It can connect through there and just hide this, and then I just have an entrance in the side of the mountain to go in and farm this. That wouldn't be a problem at all. I mean, that's a possibility. Again, I don't know for sure. Don't know how I want to do that exactly, but that's kind of the thought. But that would take all 9 of these chunks and have them, like, they'd have their chunk, their spawner limit in there. So, and I think it's a great idea to have it hidden in the mountain with a little like a mine entrance or something like that as you go into it. I'll tell you guys, I don't have a grand master plan of how I want all this. Just kind of do a little bit, see what it looks like, and kind of take it from there. This one, this spider farm is going to have to go. It's a little weird in its setup because I'm using their fall height to kill them with a little bit of a lava drop through. You have to AFK up top for that to work. This one, you're down here to kill them. And then this one, they automatically grind out with this lava blade, a lava pool here, and they get picked up. So that's easy to move. This one is a little harder just because of the way I have everything with this magic hopper that we use, how I have it lined up to these chests here together, the drops. All right, so that's kind of the idea. Let's go ahead and get back over here and do some layout. We've got that one going there. We could also come off of this stairwell and make a path that kind of shoots over this direction to join in with this. We go through here. We're going to kind of come up to the side here. Let's hug the bottom of the mountain here. And it doesn't have to just continue on. Like, we can make it stop there and have another path that branches off from here as we join into this one and shoots over this way. Okay. Anywhere we can literally Okay, good. And then this will branch off this way. Okay, it's going to come over here at the bottom of the mountain, and then we're just going to go on around. The beacons will eventually go. They're just still here because we're building. Okay. Now we got to tie this in, so we're going to come off of here. Let's branch this way. Like that. Good. Okay. And then we're going to go this way. Ooh, get more moss. Oh, we didn't have a path connecting through here yet. And then we'll just come off of here and go this way. Chances are this will change 10 times before I actually have everything complete. And I'm okay with that. And we'll just shoot this way. We're going to have our entrance to our farm for that. We're going to come over here. Right about there. And then we just got to come off of this. Get back to our villager pods. Yeah, because I was keeping this to the front here. Okay. There we go. Okay. That's kind of a grand layout. We can have some other bits that kind of shoot across here. We obviously need a path to the portal in the middle. That's going to connect. Do that. What movement going around there? We're going to go ahead and bring it around too. It's in there, and this is easily connect over to this one. Go. And then from here, this one's going to come out and we're going to shoot over this way. Now, you could sit down and make a drawing, make a spreadsheet or something that kind of gives you a general idea of what you want to do with your layout. Make adjustments there and then actually put it in to the game if you wanted to. We'll keep that around the outside. We might still build some stuff up here. This still works fine for this. Okay. All right, now let's try to figure out a palette. What do we want our roads or paths to look like? Now, there are many options for that. I'm going to go up front. Let's see. Back. I say front, but I mean the back of it here. We have some paths down in here. Okay, so down up top, we'll just use dirt and path blocks. So you put your dirt down, you turn it to a path block, which is fine. That's one option. It's pretty plain. There's not much to it. They blend in well with. This is actually spruce, but your oak planks go real great with this path block as well. And that just we've got this for a path inside here. Over here, I just use more of that. What do we have up top? Same thing, just dirt path blocks. That's a good default way. We want to go a little more, I think, as far as the design. So let's go into our storage room. Yeah, that's all I've used up here so far. Go in our storage room and grab a few things, see what our options are. Okay. Get rid of some stuff real quick. Always with that. I have a problem letting go of blocks. I want to keep them in case I need them so I don't have to go find them again. Okay, there we go. Iron down there. Diamonds down there. gravel there, and I had my hoe here, so we're gonna put that away. Throw that in the ender chest. Okay. There's that. Gravel is over here. We're actually going to need some gravel anyway, so let's throw that in there and grab a full shulker. Oh wait, you're right, that goes there. So do we want dark paths or do we want more of a gray path? We can go with something that's brown. Like, it just depends on what you're looking for, or which colors we're going to work with here. So throw that in there. This is just stone we'll put over this way. Okay, right here. Nope, here. Great. So I've got a thing of gravel. Let's go ahead and grab a couple of things that go well with that. Cobblestone's another great block to put with with gravel. If we're going gray, you can also throw in some andesite here. Those three blocks together look good. What else would you do? You can mix in mossy cobble then to kind of fade between the cobble and the moss that we have around there. So let's go look at those real quick. Home base. I'm just gonna throw these three. Not that one. Oh, that's just, yeah, that's done. We can use that too. Let's take these here. And a little bit of that. So if we were just to create a path, then this is where I probably should have kept that hoe. Hold on. We have a command for that. Give me ender chests. And this is my... we also have the ability to open shulkers without setting them down by shift clicking on them. It's very convenient. Get rid of the shovel, throw that in there, throw that in there. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and say our path's coming out from here. Right, like that. Don't make it completely straight through here. That's probably enough to test things out. So if we came in here with the blocks that we have, all right, figure out what your main block's going to be. Your main path block's going to be cobblestone. Now, there's two different ways to do this. You can totally fill everything in with one block and then come back and break blocks out and put stuff in. You come through here and say, all right, well, I want to do, let's see, if I just do a pass of andesite like this, and then come back with gravel. Oh, oh no, wrong block. That's okay. You can do that. You have a good varied palette there. Obviously, I don't think cobble would be your best for your main block, but that's okay. You can do that. That is one option. I don't need this right now. We're just gonna put that in. Now, I don't really like this layout. The other thing is, and some say this is a good way to do it, is think of, like, of course, your main block that you have there, or if you save your main block for last, you can do that as well, and just fill in. This is one thing I did in the lake above. Just figure out what your main block's going to, or your main block's going to be. Save that to fill in everything afterwards. But, like, come in here and figure out what's your gradient. And we're going to do a gradient with this. Like, this is that color, and I would probably use this as an extra block, and then maybe gravel fades in around that, and then we had this, and then you have this as your, like, smoother part, if that's your main block for your path. And see how it kind of goes from rougher to a little better than smooth and really smooth like that. So you could come in here and be like, well, where do I want, like, the broken parts to be at, like this, and lay some parts out for it, like that, and then be like, all right, well, that's gonna, like, if you set rules for it and you're like, okay, and around that, where we have this, we're gonna set gravel to kind of outline that, maybe not perfectly, but something along that lines. And then from there we can do this to outline the gravel. Doesn't have to be there. So around your gravel, gravel's going to touch andesite. And then you just come back after that and you can put your main block down like this. I didn't leave a whole lot of spaces for it, but you see that's another way to kind of create the path. It has a little more pattern to it then, because you can see it's kind of a natural degrading of it. We can also come out here and try another way to do it. And we just see what we like the most. So if we're going to use stone for our main, we can just come through here and totally fill it in with stone. We can ignore that. Hold on. Which one am I? This one? Nope. This one. Yeah, okay. The other method is just to go ahead and lay it out, all of it. A little more. Good. All right, and then come in here and be like, oh, I want to break some spots out here for this. A little too low there, Dave. Hold on. There we go. Randomly break spots out and just say, all right, this is going to be gravel. All right. And then you come back in and you do another pass and break a few spots out here and there, and you put your other block in. Just think of like, where do I want this other block at, right? So, and then you come back again, and you're like, all right, we just want to do this and that, throw this in here. Randomness. I like to go back and forth, but you got to be careful to jump to it specifically too much, because then it's not quite as random. It's more of a pattern. So we have two different styles here for how to break it up. And I don't know, you just kind of pick which one you like the best as far as the style and go with that. So this one's kind of just more randomly placing the blocks. I could do better on the edges here. And you can go back and change it out if you don't like the way you did it. Or we have this pattern where it's rules. So you can have the rules or you can have random. It's two different ways to do it. It's more of a preference, and you could probably do part of a path like this and some of it like this, and it's not really I mean, I'm kind of liking this one best myself. The question is that the palette we want? So let's put all these back. Let's go get with a different palette. Y'all. Okay. So we have our gray gradient there. We can also work with a dirt gradient with the path block and other browns. To do that, first of all, we're going to use some dirt. I believe we can just use regular dirt. Okay. All right. And then for your woods, you're going to look at... I'm going to say some birch might be an option. We're going to grab some of that, just for palette reasons. And then your, let's see here, spruce planks. Possibly birch planks. Let's get more. Oh, I said spruce. That's oak. Spruce is a little darker. We can take a look at that as well. It's definitely, no, not the spruce wood. And the dark oak's too dark too. Let's go with just these. If we do stripped birch is what we're looking for, specifically because of the way it blends with the color. Okay, let's go back. So let's try another path over here. We're just going to go ahead and knock out a bunch of blocks to start working with. That one's going to bend over this way. Okay, and we could do the same thing here. We're going to set these down. Shulker dirt, right? Grab a little bit of that. This here, that's 5 different blocks this time. We need our silk touch pick. So let's figure out what our these are going to have to be done like that. There you go. So we're looking at the tops of this. This when stripped. Now, I do realize that it makes a difference of how many blocks you have on the dirt path. It lightens up, right? That might be a little too light now that I see it. So probably going to see the same thing with this. This is oak, right? Yeah, no, that's spruce. How did I get spruce in here? Okay. Okay, well, maybe the spruce is better. These are options to throw in there. I mean, the strip birch doesn't look horrible. Birch planks. That's a much higher contrast block. But still, you got another option for your path here. So if we did figure out our order and our rules for this, I would say this is an in-between of birch and that. So if I was to lay a birch block down, stripped birch there, a path block, that, possibly spruce or, hold on, oak might be on the other side. Let's do that then. So we're going to go oak and then dirt. Okay, all right. Got a little bit of a gradient there, so we can kind of say what's our main block going to be. And it might be that maybe this is the main one. That's going to be a lot more expensive. Which direction are we going? Is this our main block and we're getting lighter in the middle? Oh, yeah, wait, we got another. Other option with this is sand blocks, because sand blocks make great paths too. And we can go sand, sandstone. And those are going to be on the lighter end here as well. So if we did sand, you can see sand and birch, and that those two might be reversed as a matter of fact. Let's do that. And a birch plank. No, they're right. Okay. See that now. Wrong one. It's okay. We'll have another strip birch. So if we did that for our paths, that's another option. Just path blocks is an option too. With I didn't mean to bring in that other option there, but that's okay. We do this with your spruce and oak mixed in. We could do that as well, which is basically what we had here. Possibly as dark as that. Definitely don't want this birch on this path. So we have, and we can try some out with both of these patterns. So we've got the gray path here, right? The gray gradient. We have path block, which has its own gradient to itself in corners and middles and all that. So if we take this out here and put, it's not going to pick up dirt, is it? There we go. So that's not a dirt block. See, it gets lighter in the middle. The wider this is, if you put something in there, it gets a little darker. So if we throw some, we did just little bits of your, the only disadvantage to this is the path block is just a little bit lower. So you kind of go up and down as you move across these. The other thing with this is we can do, hold on. With the sandstone, we can pull out sandstone stairs. And if we put one of these upside down, we get that as well, which might kind of give us something in between the sand and the other there. So, and plus you can actually make like broken parts of the path if we did this with a little bit of sandstone on both sides, right? You could do the same thing with your woods right here as well. So let's make a little bit of path with the sandstone, and then a little bit of path with the path blocks and wood. Right in here. Get my palette set up, ready to go. Probably should have made a little less of that. That, birch. So sand, that, birch, and birch. Okay, so if we did, my music stopped. Hold on. Okay, let's get it going in. There we go. Okay. And there it is. Okay, cool. All right. I think we hit the end. It didn't repeat. Okay. All right, so we're going to do spruce logs. The only disadvantage of these logs is if you do it this way, you don't have what you want there. We want the side of it, and it is directional. You can take advantage of that as well. So for now, let's just, because we're just taking a look here at what we're doing. We use the same rules we had before, and we kind of sprout out from that. We can do this. And then next would be sand. And again, we don't have to follow those rules strictly. This is just a sample. I think I like that. Yeah, that's not bad. And then our other option was the dirt path blocks with oak and spruce. So let's get those ready to go. Spruce, oak, and dirt. So if dirts are spruces are dark one, we're going to do the same thing here, where we just put a few of those, and we're going to build around it with oak. Yeah, that's fine. And you don't have to go too heavy with your variants. So about what you decide. Give me that back. Huh? Ooh, yeah, that. That's not great. Okay. Maybe just. This looks a lot lighter than this does. And again, it's because there's not as many edges. There's not as wide a piece there. Cool. Well, I mean, I think this is a no, and I could probably work with that pad a little bit and get something slightly better. It just isn't. I'm not feeling it. I like this, and I like this. Given that we're in deep slate level, there's not as much stone, and we're not going to leave stone on these mountains that we're doing. This might be a good one to do then. However, maybe this. I don't know. I'm taking this. We've got spruce, upside downs. We got some stuff there with sand. Yeah, I think we might do that. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get rid of this. With this junk laying around. Okay, so that's our basic layout of our path. So we want to pick the blocks that look best with it, and we just oh yeah, that doesn't need to stay there either. We can get rid of it because we've decided to use this. Okay, It means we need to get more of those resources over here. We can put the dirt and other stuff away. And X. Great. All right. So I think the route for this is to try to figure out where we want these at and start planting them around. And then there's kind of going to be the seeds, so to speak, of how this rest of this blooms out and gets into the sandstone. So disadvantage of these is, well, I mean, I could easily, let's see here. I could do this. So if I make these, it doesn't really matter. I can just place it down anywhere and it's going to have the right texture on the top, right? Like that. So I'll probably do that. That'll save as far as placement. It makes it a little more expensive because like it takes four of these to make 3 of the other. But for the ease of what we're doing, and I can always buy more from someone if I need to. So let's do like that. I got really fancy. I could put these in this hand. You place with one is trip with the other. Good. All right. And then we just put our planks around that. So if we follow the rules that we set for ourselves, let's get that back over here. So that is to be outlined with this. This is to be mostly outlined with that. It doesn't matter which direction you aim the stairs, they're going to do their job, okay? Just don't place them like that unless you intentionally want to do them like that. So that's that. This. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. You can spread them out a little bit. They don't have to be too close together. We want sand next. This particular one we're going to follow up with. I need that. Okay, yeah. There we go. All right. A little something. So the other thing to think about on paths like this is instead of doing random spots, think about walking through here, because the darker it gets, that means it's more trodden. So we might have like an area that's more packed down in the center. It's dirtier. It gets used a lot, or something like that. So you just want to try to think of that. So the path, or we can just leave it like this, where it's old and it's gotten dirty over years. It hasn't really been refreshed. So yeah, it just depends on how you want the path to be. If you want more lore in it, like I could come through here and probably do that. So then we want to have these darker blocks and then fade out. Like, let's see, oh my, I can't tell where I'm at now. Not this one, not this side, this side. There we go. Okay, so right over here, like around this, I went ahead and back here for the villager work area, and this isn't the best, but we have like this loose sand and it's packed down around the edges. That's another way to do it, and I don't think I have any better examples right now. I feel totally unprepared. So this is fine. There's other ways to do it. That doesn't make one any better than the other. It's just your preference on that. Now I can even come in here. We don't have to go all the way to the birch log with that. We can come in here and just do like sand's your next. We could just come right here and drop a piece of sand in there for a little variance whenever it's just your sandstone. So we can break that up too. So just remember that it's kind of a, if you have this is around it, and then this is around it. But those rules apply wherever you start. So if we have this, then this is around it. We can totally skip that, or we can just start with this and then put the sand around that. So that'll be a matter of figuring out and deciding which we're doing. So I might still tear some of this out, or just leave it as a sample now and come redo it in a bit. And think about your paths that are used more as well, and make them, I mean, they're going to be darker down the center, more likely. So if you wanted to add some variance in the way the path is done like that. Okay, now we got some paths kind of laid out. We figured out a good palette we want to use, and I'm going to keep both of these down here for now so I can really decide what I want to do with that. I think they both have merit. This ties in well with the structures that we have. This brings in a slightly different color that we could use in some builds. And I know I have some of that sandstone up here. You could use some of both. Maybe your main paths are one, and then your additional paths that are added in are one of the other colors. You've just got to figure out a way to fade between the two well, if you want them to look good together. But no, I'm not totally sold on which one I want to do yet. So we have a stone path, we have a sandstone path, because this doesn't look bad with that, because we do have some wood tones that would tie into this well up there. But then looking at this from here, like this one goes in well, but it just kind of, it doesn't have much of a pop. It doesn't stick out as much. It just kind of blends in. So if you want it to blend in, that's a great one. If you want it to stick out a little more and give some color variance, we can go with this. So if anybody has any opinions, just let me know and we'll kind of go with that. But this is kind of where we're starting at. Getting some basic palettes for paths put down. That is my dirt. I'm going to throw that back in there for now. Yeah, so buildings. Where do we want buildings at? Now, we've talked about that grid for our villager stuff, but for villager pods, and I'm going to have more of those in here. I'm starting to get, like, I've got a store that I keep a bunch of books and stuff in, but the more pods I have for villagers, the better I can keep those stocked. So we want to do another villager pod over here, I guess, underneath this mountain, eventually. So I've got some of these I just have to get emeralds from, like your, these guys are good to take your rotten flesh from the farm over there and your gold, and you trade it in. And then these guys take stone and well, he's not a good example. Some of these will get you right there, andesite, things like that. I can get lots of emeralds from. So some of these guys, and the Fletchers over there. Fletchers are really good villager to start off with to get emeralds from, because one of the early trades is sticks. I'm talking to you. Yeah, the first trade, you can get a stick trade that gives you emeralds, and like if you can get a lot of wood collected, you can get sticks a little sooner, or emeralds a little sooner like that. But that's kind of what they are. I'm not going to use them nearly as much because it's still a lot of work to get that and do all the trading. Bamboo would be a good source of that as well. So, but I like them. I keep them. I made them a nice house, and they're going to stay here. So yeah, these are just emerald traders. Again, when I'm doing the farm over here, I've got vindicators in the spawners that do drop emeralds. And is the gold from them? I don't know who the gold's from. Oh, zombie pigmen. That's right. So I can do that for sure. That gives me lots of emeralds. So I might just make a cell like this with just vindicators. Again, the issue is spawn restrictions on how many can be in a chunk at a time. So we want to try to get a balance on that, so I don't have so many spawning that they disappear. Okay. We want to have enough to make it worth it. All right, so buildings. Now, again, I need to keep these guys in here, so I'm going to build a building for our clerics and stone masons, right? Yeah, masons. I could also move him over, so we could separate these out. 1, 2, 3. So if we had a little house here, near the thing there. And it could be a little outpost looking thing. It doesn't have to. I mean, I have to have a way to fence them in, or they can't get out of this chunk, or we're going to have problems. But I could figure out a little structure of some sort, and I could do the little thing where we could have a few of them in a little shelter here, something like that. I don't know if you've seen the villager containers that people do that just have like they just sit in this area with their work thing right in front. So they just have their one little thing, and then like their workbench or whatever's here, whatever workstation they have. And those are good. I've done those before, but I'm trying to have a little more movement. So if we did within this chunk, let me go ahead and lay this out real quick. Boom. Let's get some wool or moss up here so I can set my boundaries. So if I move my masons over here, I could build a church for the clerics right here. And the church itself can be bigger than this chunk, but I just have to make sure to restrict them to just that chunk so they don't despawn. So right here, if we did a building or a few little buildings, we could have like a 1, 2, 3. We can have a workstation there, and we could do 10. So I could do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I could have a set of 3 and 2 of them, and then 2 and a couple others. And these can be like fence posts that come up, and then this is just a general idea of how I'd want this to be set up. And I realize this is probably a little too even, so we could, let's see here. If I have, let's offset that. My need for things to look symmetrical can be a bit of a problem. So we ring that one in a little bit, and then this one also could come over a block. Ugh, this might hurt. Nice. Okay. All right. All right. Is that the right one? Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. Okay. All right. All right. All right. We're getting there. What if we make this one? How did I not? And they also don't need to be the same shape either. So, that could be a little bigger. Let's go ahead and expand this out. That means this needs to shift over. And look at me, I'm still doing 90s. I'm still doing squares. I'm working on it. This doesn't have to be a squares. But like a setup like that would give it... That's not the block I wanted there anyway. So if we lay it out like this, give me that. Okay. And just imagine them having roofs on them. Some sort of roof. It might be wool or carpet that's on top here. Let's just do outlines. That might be a little easier. Get this in there. Boom. Oh, I'm out. Okay, give me more. Boom. Okay, and then so if I were to bring the masons over here and just give them these workstations within these blocks, I could still use them, and they would move around within this. So the problem is 3, 3, 2, 2. We don't have room for their beds and everything within that. So we could put 3 beds, 2 workstations, 3 workstations. That's going to be a little crowded. I don't know. I'll figure something out. For this, I actually had like all their workstations downstairs and then like an upstairs with their beds. for them to get in. Let me think about that and what I want to do, but or we could have a whole open area that they wander around. We can still do something different and then give them a way to get up to a bed. There is no going down here because we've got like bedrock starts at that level, so we don't go down. We don't want to go up too much higher because we're starting to block our view of that. So we can, we'll figure something out. That'll be a fun thing to try to sort out and troubleshoot. How can we get them a place to sleep and still keep them confined? It might be hard to keep them all confined to these little cells. But that was a thought. Make it a little different. And then we can grow our clerics. So yeah, we'll end up with 10. Right now it's just 5 and 5, but when we split them apart, I can actually breed up some more of them and give them those jobs, and then we can make 10 clerics here. This could be a church of some sort, a chapel kind of a thing, as we get things going with that as far as layout. So we'll have buildings along here. Now, I did stretch this out where the front's here. They cannot get into this chunk, but it is, the building sticks out further. So this one can come out further, even over here. We'll just rewind the path around the building. Just move it, or it can stick back. It could be recessed into this wall a little bit, like it's just dug out and the building's there. But we can build some kind of a church situation here for them to be in. And there's ways to fence them into that. Even if the church came over here and this was just the area where the clerics lived at and worked, and we had like a main chapel here, there's all kind of setups for churches. So that's definitely what we can do. I mean, it's not really a church because these aren't priests like that, right? They're cleric of some sort. Minecraft religion stuff, I guess. I don't know. It's a made up game, guys. It's okay. Over here, more librarians, but like we don't have to, they don't all have jobs yet. I haven't given them, getting the right book trade's a little difficult. I have to say that. And some of these, of course, you know, once you set a bookshelf down, they'll come over and get a job. And if you don't like the trade, you just break the bookshelf, replace it, and see who gets who comes next, see if you like the trade. Some of these took almost a full Minecraft day just to get the right one, or longer. So sometimes I'll just leave and come back. But right now I've got pretty decent trades. This one's got my Silk Touch for 16. I've got hold on, Mending for 10. So that's a really good trade with that. Unfortunately, you get your 6 or 9 trades, I can't remember how many, and you're done. Maybe it's 12. And you can't keep getting more until he's worked and refreshed his trades. So having more villagers to do the same thing is a good thing in that respect. Okay, so that's the plan over here. I'll figure out what we're going to do for these librarians, because we do have a library workstation over here with books and things. That doesn't mean we can't do something similar with that, but we've got this little station with their workstations and the bookshelves lining there. We can do something similar over here. Doesn't have to be the same, but that's kind of the idea. Maybe a coffee shop. I don't know. One second. And yeah, we'll see. We'll work something out. Sorry, I'm getting something set up right here real quick. Click that. Okay, good. Computer stuff. Yes, so that's the idea. And then of course this, whether we move it over a chunk or leave it where it's at, I'll have to figure out what's going on with that. But that I mean, that should be good. There's only so many mobs I want to farm for, so it's not like I need to use up every set of 9 chunks for mob farms. I can still optimize for what I have. So this side for sure, we're going to have villagers. We might move some in, and those guys might not stay there. That might not be where I end up with the masons. So the trick is, in order to move these guys, I cannot go this way or this way. I have to go this way. But once we get over to this line of chunks, I can go around those by staying in this line of chunks and still. So if I wanted to bring the masons up here into the same chunk as, like, the same chunk line as these guys, that's the way I'd have to do it. So I'd have to come over 1, 2, 3 chunks and then come through here. So a little tricky, but once you know how the rules work, you can work within that. And that's just for this server, the way they have things set up. I totally get it. You get a lot of people on here playing, and like if I just crammed as many villagers as I could into this one area, things would start to get a little more, performance would be affected and stuff like that. So having them separated out means that you're not going to have as many loaded at the same time. So there's oftentimes I'll come down here when I haven't been in the area for a while. And first of all, these do disappear after you get a certain height. I thought it was, okay, I think I've increased my render height myself. And it'll be the middle of the night and they're at their workstations and I show up here and then they go get in their beds. So they're not even actively doing things when I'm not in the area. And that helps the performance a good bit, apparently. So, okay. That's, again, the layout for this. We'll see where we want to go with that. I think this farm's staying. This farm's going to get ripped down and moved. I don't really need a spider farm that much because we get, let's see here. You get your string. Am I collecting spider eyes too? Oh, there's other junk. I haven't filtered this one out, so it's everything. Spider jockeys is what this is from. We've got our bows, our armor, and arrows, spider jockeys, and bones. I do apparently get some of those in here, so that's what that's about. If you're wondering, why does a spider farm have arrows? This one is, right now, just skeletons and iron golems. This is my main bone supply for the moment because I'm not bone milling moss around here to get rid of this at the moment. I don't know, I might get back into some of that. So that's what's going on with that. That farm could stay there. I'd have to bring the mountain out a bit, or it could kind of cut into the mountain a bit. We'll see. Right now they're in good alignment with the 2 chunks. I mean, no, the 2 chunks are being used. So you've got your 3 chunks there, and then this starts the next chunk, and so on. So to be fair, the first chunk of this one is right here. It's just not the surrounding chunks like that does. Cool. All right. That gives us a layout of our paths, buildings. Man, I keep getting distracted. We did do a little bit of building layout here. This might not be what we end up with. I like the idea of having these little workstations, these little working areas, but I don't know how I'm going to fit beds and workstations for 3 in one of these. I could probably do 2, a set of 2 here and here. Doesn't mean I have to have 10 villagers here. So if I had 2 there, 2 there, 2 and 2, we might get away with that. Might get away with that. We have to fence the whole thing in while they're breeding up the rest because we just have 5 over there right now. So we need at least 3 more minimum, and then we'll see how that layout works. Boom. Okay. All right. Well, that's kind of an idea there, and then over here. I talked early in the second stream, I think it was. My first one was pretty much just a tour of building shapes and doing things not always straight. I think for my cathedral church that's going to be here, I am going to keep that on 90s just because I think I can do a lot better with that style of building on these direct angles. This one isn't going to change. Now from there we could do this one, and I think it'd line up great with the mountain to have a slight angle for what I'm doing with these villagers here. Now, obviously, if we're trying to keep things within a chunk, as we need to do with the villagers, having a building at an angle is going to be a bit more problematic. That's not what we wanted. We want this. Okay. So, to do a building like this that severely cuts down on a lot of your area, the area that you have there. So Like that, okay? And that's that. And this isn't a full 45. This is more of a, can I call it a 33? I had to give it an angle measure out here. Okay, that one's gonna go bye-bye. E, okay. Like that, there's all this area out here. We could possibly have like balconies that stick out from this and cover a bit of that. Like here. Nope. I don't know. I had to work on that. But we could still work within this footprint and build a building for some villagers in, well, it'd have to be over here, but you get the idea. Now, if we're not using it for anything, if it's just strictly for decor, it doesn't really matter. That's great for that. But here, a 45 would be more like from here. Here. Oh, give me more moss. We just go until we hit that line, but that's going to cut like half of your area out. That's not part of it. Okay. A lot of times people use wool for this. Oh, okay. This is your center. I should have went from right there. My bad. Okay, let's go ahead and fix that. I want to see what area we have with this. So we're going to just cut all this back out. My mistake. I did not judge the center of my chunk well. Okay. Okay. Right here's your center, this line. So if we go here, we can get a better idea of how 45 in there would work. You can also double this right here. So this takes up just half of the area. But again, you could do a balcony here on the upper level and get a little bit more of that space back for them to move around in. Just doing a second level in general kind of gives you a little bit of or for that reason, I mean, for that, we could do like a front door area on here. Let's see if the path's over there. We could just make this open up like that, right? Yeah, something like that. That'd be a good layout for a house here in this chunk. Except for, again, Dave, it should be over here. Okay, those are two examples of some layouts we could do for buildings. Now, I've got to, let's get rid of this and just figure out where we want them at to begin with. Okay. Okay, let's get rid of this for the second. All right, it's coming through there. Good. Okay. What has happened to my screen over here? Hold on. There we go. Something happened to my layout. All right. Okay. So where do we want buildings at is the next thing. So we want to figure out, I mean, we could build farms like this and put a building around it. We have the center structure, which I've still got to put a roof on this. This is not the finished product. I want to come out here and build a dome over it, right? Nice little dome. And then under here, we're going to have a spawner set up. Now they can be directly at the center because this is your chunk line here. So this and this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different chunks right here in the middle. We could also put the spawners back a little bit and then have room in the middle to work around. The advantage of having them all in the center is then you just have this area just around those spawners to fight mobs in or kill the mobs off. If you have them out a little bit, you've got to go further out for mobs that spawn further around here. So it just depends on what you're wanting to do with it as for how far you want to put that out. Okay. So again, we're going to build a dome over this. I haven't really got to that yet. And there's tools to help you figure out your curve for how to do the dome. And I think those are great. I think I might have used some before, but I just like to hand do it and just come out. We're probably going to use this circle. We're probably going to come out a little bit, but this circle up top will be our guide, which is kind of build out and makes a space around, like make it spaced out just a little bit, maybe 2 blocks, maybe 3 blocks, and then come up. Yeah, so come up, go out 3 blocks or so, and then connect. So the biggest thing would be to make your arch and then connect in the middle, figure out how flat you want it to be in the middle, make your arch from there to the center, do the same thing on the other side, and then do the same thing on these sides as well. So you're going to have 4 lines or 2 full arches across, one from here and one from here to here. And then get your middle, your center of this, and build up your arch to the middle there. And what you want to do is take the top. So you have a ring on the outside. You want kind of a ring here and along the top edge of it. And then we'll just kind of connect together. Anyway, that's not today's stream, though. That's another thing we're going to deal with later. So right now, paths laying out, where to put buildings. I honestly don't know. I think I want to get a better idea of where the mountain edges are going to be, which might change the way we do paths and then eventually how we do buildings. So I might look at a different block to lay buildings out. Moss is great for this path. It's going to have to get ripped up anyway. And then y'all let me know if we want to move this later on, if you like it there. I'm not really sure. There's a lot of decisions to do in this. But that's kind of where we're at for now. I think I'm going to call it for this stream. We're here just over an hour. Yeah, so I hope everybody's enjoyed this, and I will catch y'all guys next Thursday, same time. Well, maybe not the same time. I'll have to see. Sometime Thursday afternoon, we're going to do another stream. Going to try to do Minecrafts on Thursday. I might do some other Minecraft days, but I've currently trying to do Thursdays for Minecraft. Saturday mornings, I started last week to do a Satisfactory stream. If you're into Satisfactory, try to check me out Saturday morning sometime. It just depends on how things go, when I can get out to the area at home that I can stream at, and do a little Satisfactory. I got started last week and got a little bit knocked out trying to get things rolling with that because there's a lot of grind to it. It's a fun game. It's my second playthrough. I did it in version 1.0. This is version 1.1, I believe. They just had a new update come out with some new things. So interested in continuing on with that. Might do another game before too long. Cubic Odyssey is another one I've gotten into. It's a space exploration game. It's pretty fun. Been kind of playing it on the side a little bit just to kind of get used to it. But I think I might start it over, stream it, see how that goes. So yeah, just let me know here. Leave comments or messages here on Steam or on this YouTube video at the end here. Just leave some comments if you're interested in that. Alrighty, guys. Later.